Assessing the potential of deceased organ donation is essential to knowing whether we are doing the best we can. We can build from such information to help refine our systems and improve access to transplantation for everyone. Since 2003, the United Kingdom has performed a potential donor audit in order to review the potential for deceased donation for both donors after brain death and donors after circulatory death. All deaths in ICUs and emergency departments of anyone under the age of 80 are collected across the country. Any patients on mechanical ventilation prior to their death are then reviewed. This data is published annually and gives an interesting insight into where the organ donation process may be improved. For example, in 2011-2012, the potential donor audit showed that in patients with suspected neurological death, 26% were never formally tested for brain death. Of those tested, 4% had a medical contraindication to donation. In patients certified brain dead, with no medical contraindication to donation, the family was never approached for donation in 7% of cases. When the family was approached for consent, there was a 36% refusal rate. In those consented, a further 8% were unable to become actual organ donors, primarily because of a deterioration in their physiological condition. For possible donors after circulatory death, where imminent death was expected after withdrawal of treatment, 55% were medically unsuitable, largely due to multi-organ failure and malignancy. In those who could have been considered for donation after circulatory death, the family was not approached for consent in over 46% of cases. When the family was approached, only 50% of families consented. And when consent was obtained, a further 51% did not work out as donors because arrest did not occur within the time period that would permit organ donation. The potential donor audit then goes on to capture data related to each one of these steps. What are the reasons given for neurological brain death tests not being performed? What are the reasons why patients are not referred, despite referral criteria being met? What are the reasons why the family is not approached about donation? What were the reasons given by the family for not consenting to organ donation? And what were the reasons why organ donation did not work out for some consented potential organ donors? In Australia, the data on the potential organ donor population is presented annually in this form. As you can see, organ donation is a rare and precious opportunity. In 2015, under 1,000 people in Australia died in circumstances that potentially allowed for organ donation. That is only 1 to 2% of all deaths in Australia. For this reason, it is important to make sure every opportunity to approach a family for consent is taken, and that when consent is obtained, the donor is managed well enough to become an actual donor. This results in recipients receiving organ transplant procedures and gaining a new lease on life with the organs they have been allocated. All of this data is essential to record and publish, as it gives education programs and quality improvement initiatives information to act upon in order to change practice and improve referral rates, approach rates, consent rates, and conversion rates. In order to record and compare data accurately, we must define a common set of terms. In the United Kingdom, a suspected neurological death is any patient who is unresponsive with fixed and dilated pupils, no spontaneous breathing, and an identified cause for the coma. A suspected imminent death is any patient not confirmed brain dead receiving mechanical ventilation in whom the clinical decision is to withdraw treatment. A potential brain dead donor is any patient certified brain dead with no absolute contraindication to organ donation. A potential donor after circulatory death is any patient in whom imminent death is anticipated upon withdrawal of treatment, with no absolute contraindication for organ donation. An actual donor is a donor from whom any organ or organs are recovered for the purposes of transplantation. The referral rate is the number of potential donors referred to the transplant team. The approach rate is the percentage of potential donor families approached for consent. The consent rate is the percentage of families approached for consent who consented to organ donation. The conversion rate is the percentage of potential donors who become actual organ donors. These numbers will allow you to measure the success and failure of any improvement projects. The number of organs transplanted per donor is also a marker of how well the organ donation and transplant system is working. To recap, data capture is essential to any organ donation improvement initiative. All the various steps in the deceased organ donation process need to be quantified. By improving our referral rates, our approach rates, and our consent rates, we will ultimately improve the conversion rate of potential donors into actual donors and be able to offer more patients on the waiting list an organ transplant.